I would also like to see more young people getting involved in producing new events and projects. I think there's nothing better than working in the arts. We need people to set up record companies, we need mail order, we need people to promote gigs, we need people to take a few chances. We all love to perform, there's nothing better, but actually we really need people to sell the records, promote them and put on the gigs. It's the best thing, you can't beat it actually. So there's so much experience out there that would be really up for helping you, so please have a think about it. Get involved.
This year, the awards held a special dinner on the Friday night to honour our new Hall of Famers. So tonight, we have a second chance to celebrate their contribution to our music as we take a brief look at some wonderful Scots music careers.
He taught more than just the tune and more than just the music. He taught the history. Every time you went there for a lesson, you were told who wrote the tune, where it came from, how it was meant to be played, how one person had played it, how another person maybe played it. And you got all of that in your lessons. It was a social history as well as getting the music. There's probably a handful of Scottish fiddle players who kept the music alive, and I think that's where the importance of Donald is, that he was one of the standard bearers and key holders, I suppose, into music of the other generations.
When I used to hear Roddy, and as a young competitor, when I was competing, incredible quality from his hands, like the big throws and D's and the great barrels and all that he would make, and coupled with a great sound. I don't think there's a piper alive that wouldn't aspire to have a sound like Roddy's. He grew up with recordings and Gaelic radio on in the back and that kind of thing, and you can hear it in his playing. It's a great laugh too.
Silly Wizard were a massive influence on me, and certainly the band Capercaillie as well. Having been brought up playing traditional music, it was slightly ghettoised, it was slightly straight, and seeing Silly Wizard was a little bit like, it kind of opened a door to another world, really. I think they've brought a sense of freedom to the whole movement of Scottish folk music, and in particular if you want to be in a band like that and how you have a band and how you perform on stage, and that kind of feeling that anything goes as long as it's good, and they certainly did that.
So how do I sum up Norman MacLean? Well, everything he touched turned to gold, from the gold medal at the Mod, through the piping, through the Bartoch. He was just a huge influence on everybody that came behind him, apart from that as well as his entertainment side, with the TV and his hilarious comedy shows. We first met Norman, when we were working on series The Blood is Strong and Glenfinnan, and he was just an inspiration, a mentor for us as a band. Norman, a legend. Thank you so much for everything you've done.
Jim Halcrow, of course, from Shetland, is a legend, an accordion legend. Jim could play anything. So you'd walk in and he'd be playing a rumba or something with his electronic bass very, very well. But one of the other things he was particularly good at was Norwegian music. And Jim was very good at that, and he had a massive repertoire of it. And he used to just pick it up from the radio from Norway. And let's face it, I think Stavanger's the nearest railway station to Lerwick. Jim is a legend and always will be.
He took a lot of inspiration from the land. He was a great sportsman, he was a great athlete, top-line rugby player in his day, a great golfer, a great hill walker. He loved nothing better than to being out on the hills. And that comes through in his music. His music was like himself, was honest, cheerful, robust, something that I think we can be proud of. He was a Scot in every way.
There was a lad in Glasgow town, Bromensky was his name. Johnny Day.
Those of us who got introduced to and were made welcome in the folk song clubs in the mid-1960s as the second wave. This was in the sort of chronology of the folk revival. And people in the first wave in Scotland had been the likes of Alex Campbell and of course Hamish Imlah. The folk song clubs were very interesting in those days. There was a wide range of music available. And in many respects, Hamish Imlah actually epitomised and personified all of that. He was a great guitar player, tapped into American roots music. His introductions could be really pithy and funny and terse. So the whole performance was just the most engaging thing. Just a tremendous company, great intellect, great conversationalist.
Channing gyrra bwydynwch gyma carsdial, cainal cause, ysbla a hana mana. Agus ddysg a sy'n ysys o gos na dda fami gyma hog a na dda hachal mi di as y hietol amach. Ba mi smwydyn gyda bwydynwch da ddidw efa inja. Y hwfs yn siolus y reichge chan yn y fain idd yn sein ach cwtioch yn y cwsbedden efa cael ys yn sein. Ha lior a had y chlawolwg hwci mach Songs of Gaelic Scotland. So nopad a chai sin ystig an lior a sin sa rangsach a gyreini had sin y bielnichen gyfer sin da didw y sisu gyre bwydynwch ha sorichtje a ha intje.
He had a lot of courage, a lot of confidence in what he was doing, and the first time I saw him performing at one of his gigs, you know, it was just wee Martin on his own with all these instruments, and I just remember thinking, what a lot of courage to do that all by yourself, you know, with this huge audience. And I think that was one of the things that defined Martin, was his ambition and his vision to create the music that he wanted to create. He had such a respect for the music and the tradition that people just loved what he did.
The Hall of Famers 2012, they're all represented here tonight, themselves or their friends and family. Would you all please stand so we can say thank you once again?
Ladies and gentlemen, our Hall of Fame inductees for 2012. Magadi Tachbalam.
Mór an taing guibh uile go cháirsin.